Hello friends! How are you doing today? So thank you for joining me this week for a new episode of my podcast. The name of the podcast is Inspirations because my objective with this podcast is to inspire you to knit things and have a lovely time. So thank you for joining me. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much. And if you're new to the podcast, well, I hope you will enjoy this episode. So just to cover the basics, as I do for each beginning of a new episode, you will find the notes of the podcast just below this screen. You just have to click on plus. I tried to be extra precise and detailed in the show notes so that you can find everything I mentioned. You will find all the useful links as well to Tricot et Stitch, to all things Tricot et Stitch on the internet. Worth mentioning especially are the link to the newsletter. I encourage you to subscribe to my newsletter because it's the best way to stay in touch and to make sure you're not missing anything. Because the other way to get in touch with me is via Instagram, because I like to publish a lot there, but due to the algorithm you're not sure that you will see what I'm publishing. So really the best way is to subscribe to the newsletter, and as a welcome gift I'm offering you a pattern for a shawl. It's the Jimmy shawl. It's a triangular shawl with a beautiful lace border. So this is free when you join the newsletter. What can you expect from the newsletter? Well, that's usually a weekly email at 5 p.m. Paris time on Mondays. Sometime like last week, you can have 2 emails because there was 2 shop updates in the same week. But usually it's 1 email per week. I wanted to thank you again, as I do each episode, for using the Tricot et Stitch hashtag. Thank you so much. Please continue to use it. I'm browsing it every day and I love it. I have an ongoing knit along in the Ravelry group. Well, it's not exactly a knit along, it's more a very open, very friendly ongoing event during the month of November, and it's going to be happening every month. You can share your Tricot et Stitch project, be it the yarn, the pattern, or both if you want a double entry. And I will give away 2 prizes beginning of December, picked amongst the entries for November. So that's both in the Ravelry group and on Instagram with hashtag Tricot et Stitch FO Parade Nov 2020. And that's it for the basics. Thank you. Don't forget that if you enjoy this episode, do not hesitate to put a thumb up and to subscribe to the channel as well. Thank you guys. Thank you. So, I wanted to share with you my Slipstravaganza because I made some progress, but as I told you last episode, I'm not going to be, able to finish it very soon. And I must say I'm not decided yet about large border or small border. The thing is, ideally I'd go with the large border, but it's so long. I mean, it's so long. So here are my progress so far this week. So very modest progress. So I've knitted, I think, something like 20 rows, which is not bad, but not enough. When I see that some knitters have already completed theirs, I'm just, admirative. So this is mine. I'm about to start knitting with the 3rd contrast color, and I mean the temptation is strong just to, bind off and finish it. but I would still have a lot of yarn left, and maybe for that reason I will keep on and knit the larger border. And I mean, I love the look of the larger one. I've seen Stephen West's last pictures, the one with the shawl in the green tones, with all the plants surrounding him, and it's like dinosaur shawl, like it's the Jurassic shawl. It's like a dinosaur. I don't know why. There is a very strong dinosaur vibe to the picture. Love it. So that project is very, very cool. I'm still enjoying it very much. My only regret is that, yeah, the rows are so long, and I have some other work projects that needs my, that need my attention, and I need to be finished with that project to be able to concentrate on the other things in the pipeline. And initially I thought I was going to, to knit 1 row, 2 rows every day and be done by the end of November, but even 2 rows each day is a huge investment because I don't knit much during the day. I spend a lot of time, on the computer, dyeing yarn, prepping orders and things like that. I don't have much free time to knit. So I knit mostly on weekends and when the kids are around, and having 4 of them and 2 quite little, still little, well, I don't have much uninterrupted knitting time. So that kind of 900 plus stitches rows, that would take, I don't know, maybe 30 to 45 minutes to complete, are actually taking me like 1 hour and a half for 1 row. So even 2 rows per day is highly challenging. So yeah, I mean, it will be done when it will be done, but what I don't want to do is, stray away from it, because I need to make some progress on other projects and then forgetting about it and letting it sleep and not finishing it. I want to finish it so badly. That's why I'm considering, the shorter version of the shawl. We'll see. I will knit the last garter stitch contrast color, and I'll see if I'm binding off or if I have the juice to keep on going. Okay, so that was for the Slipstravaganza. I wanted to tell you I was so thankful to all my lovely customers, because all the kits are gone. All the kits. Even the ones I showed you last episode are gone. So I'm so happy. Thank you so much. I still have some work to do on the website to, put together the gallery of all the kits I dyed. If you the fancy struck you to order a Tricot Stitch kit for the Slipstravaganza, but that's not done yet, but it should be during the coming week. Okay, so other kits I have in the shop, they're in the shop now. I told you today is Saturday the 7th of November. I don't know if I told you that already, but okay, it is. So yesterday I made a special update, a shop update, to prepare for the Barcelona Knits Festival. That's happening right now online. And you can find some lovely, I don't know if you can see the bottom here, some lovely stillness kits in the shop. I have like 20 or so of them. So if you want to have a look again, it's basically my interpretation of the color palette for this shawl. So it's mainly very warm, very fall inspired colors, like rich brown, beautiful neutrals. Yeah. So there is a bit of mineral color as well, a bit colder, like vert de gris or snow owl, which are a bit colder than chocolate fudge, for example, or cute foxy. Yeah, but I think the kits are really looking good, and they're beautiful, and they're starting to go as we speak, so that's so cool. And you loved the baby yak and silk. I couldn't believe it. I put it in the shop on Friday. You know, you had the discount starting on Saturday, and by Friday night it was all gone. So definitely I will buy some with my supplier, and I will put some more in the shop. But I think, yeah, you guys are really loving those like not regular bases, more luxurious, more fancy bases. You really love them, so I'll keep on you know, putting them in the shop for you. Okay, so that was for the shop. Another thing in the shop. So yesterday I sent the newsletter with a little, you know, a little clue of what's coming up and what will be in the shop on Monday, because there will be a regular shop update on Monday together with this podcast. So what is in the shop basically, because if you're watching this now, it's already in the shop. So what is in the shop? So I sent you a little clue, and my little clue was this little guy. Okay, I've been wanting to knit those lovely gnomes for ages, like literally for years. And because I was working full time, had the family to care about, and always had something else on the needles, like a shawl, a pair of socks, something else, I never got around to knitting those little guys. But now that you know, I'm working for Tricot Stitch and for the shop, I mean, I had a delightful couple of days putting this together for you. So first of all, knitting this little Natasha. So that's Natasha from Imagine Landscape. That's Sandra Shira on Ravelry, and she has the most whimsical and lovely of gnomes patterns. So this is the name of the pattern for this is Never Not Gnoming. And this is the middle guy, this one. So it's a pattern for 3 different gnomes, 3 sizes, and you can choose from the little one, the ornament one, the middle guy, that's him, well, that's her, Natasha, and the big guy, the big gnome here. So I started, that's my first one. I can tell you it's the first of a long line of gnomes. And I love him. I love him so much. I love him to pieces. I mean, he's gorgeous. So you might have remarked that she doesn't have any arms. That's because I think she's cutest this way. Can we talk about like she gnomes having beards? Can we just reflect on that a minute? Just like in the Lord of the Rings, you know. Same thing with, oh, I don't remember the name of this character. It's a nain. I don't remember the name, but he told that even the woman had beards as well, but I don't remember his name. I will put it in here. Okay, so that little girl or little guy is really cute, and what I've been doing is dyeing a bunch of minis, and I put together some kits for you. So yeah, I had the most delightful couple of days doing that. Really. So I'm going to show you the kits I put together. So the first one is completely in the blues, and that's Lone Peak. That's variegated. So what you use for each part, the hat, the body or the beard, is completely up to you, but I'd say that I'd need the body like this, the beard like this, and the hat like this. So this is Lone Peak, Snow Owl and Obscuro. and I'd like it to focus, please. Yes, okay. Okay, so that's one kit. With that, I believe you have enough to knit at least 3 like this. At least, maybe 4. Okay, so that is enough. Actually, you would need a 4th color for the ornament one, but like under a gram. So I thought maybe 3 full mini skeins would be enough, and not adding a 4th mini skein just for the bottom of the tiniest of them all. Just grab a scrap of yarn or something if you wish to make it different. So that's the first one, and it's called Snow Gnome. Gnome des Neiges in French, and Snow Gnome. First one. The second one is City Gnome. Much more sophisticated. Okay, like with crazy neon colors. Completely, you know, used to city life and partying and yeah. So that's Corrupted Pink, Min Paluzza, and Eleanor. And that's City Gnome, so that's Gnome des Villes. Then you have House Gnome, Gnome de Maison, the one that you would typically find home knitting in front of the fire, like my type of gnome. Okay, and that's Jeremy Ara, Hello, and Snow Owl. Then you have the kit I used for mine little Natasha. I don't think I'm going to call her Natasha. For me it's not a her to start with. I think I'm going to call him Olaf. Olaf. Yeah, I think Olaf is best suited. So Olaf is a garden gnome. This is garden gnome, and this is Fury. I used Fury for his hat. Sorry, I think my voice is really weird today. It's because I don't have the COVID or nothing, but just a little, you know, cold on the throat. It's changing my voice. So that's Ivy Confetti, that's Natural, Undyed, and Fury. And that's Garden Gnome, Gnome des Jardins. Then we have another I want to test. Actually, I think I'm going to knit a second one in both shades. Lovely. That's Tarnished Rose Gold, Nutmeg, and Hebrides. And this is Dunes Gnomes, Gnome des Dunes. Then you have that one. So that one is Lake Gnome, because yeah, in French we pronounce the G, so that's, for us it's gnome, but I know that in English it's gnome. You don't pronounce the G. Okay, so that's Lake Gnome, and that's Gnome du Lac. And the colorways are, okay, Modou, Crazy Witch, and Vert de Gris. Two to go. The first one is, well, not the first one. The first of the two remaining is Wood Gnome, so that's Gnome des Bois, and that's Chocolate Fudge, Undyed, Natural, and Cute Foxy. Very cute one as well. And the last, I mean, I had to do something a bit Christmassy, right? I had to. So that one is Great North Gnome. So that's Gnome du Grand Nord. And those colorways don't have any names yet because they're brand new and they're completely perfect for the season, the festive season to come. Don't know yet the names, but yeah, pretty basic end of year Christmassy colors for your gnome. I would definitely recommend to knit the hat in that shade and the body in that shade, but could be nice the other way around. Okay, so that's it for the kits. I hope you love them. I would like to prepare some more. I have some minis dyeing, minis cooking as well in other shades, so maybe there will be more depending on how you welcome the kits in the shop. I have options for your kits. First option, for the stuffing. You might use any kind of stuffing, but if you are like me, you don't have any at home. What I always use to stuff mini things like this, such as amigurumis or things like that, is ends, bits and pieces of yarn, because I have this habit of never throwing away any piece of yarn, never mind how tiny it is. It can be just, you know, the bits you snip when you wave in your hands, or the tiny bits that hold the skin together and that you remove when you cake it up, or any loose scrap of yarn that it's too small to be knitted as a little stripe in a sock or anything under that. I'm never throwing away anything. So I've been knitting for 10 years and I've never thrown away anything. I've used it regularly for such projects as stuffing, but for example that bag was full, and what I did is I, you know, gathered on my bits and pieces, which are quite lovely actually when you look at them close. You have pieces of ribbon, you have lots of yarn, you have lots of things, and I put them in those little bags, and you will have the option to buy the stuffing. So for €1, an additional €1 to the kit. So those 3 mini skins kit is at €15. That's 16 if you add the stuffing. And the last option I have for you, at one point in the pattern you will need a stitch marker to mark the beginning of your round. At one point when you have all the ends weaved in, you don't know where the beginning of your round is and you need a stitch marker. So I thought I would offer a coordinated stitch marker. So here are the 2 designs I'm offering as part of the kits. So it's either the one or the other. Okay, please focus. Okay, so you have either a little, oh, I'm sorry, it's out of focus again. Either the acorns or the pine cone. You just have to choose which one. And it's an additional €2. So the complete kit with stuffing and marker will amount to €18, and yarn only is €15. Okay, you have everything you need to know about the kit. So they are all in the shop already. So if you wish to knit your own little gnome, I mean, Sarah Shira, Imagine Landscape, she has a lot of patterns, but considering it's the first, and that, you know, for my French customers, I need to do the translation, I thought I'd stick with the one pattern, but she has a lot. She has a lot, and I want to knit them all, and actually I bought them and I printed them all out, because I really want to, you know, make progress on the gnome front. So that's all the patterns. And really, you have some gnomes where you need 4 colors, but it's my understanding that with one kit you still have what you need to knit most of the gnomes. So that's really, really sweet, so lovely, and it's very quick to knit actually. I might just take you through the process if you're not familiar with it. It's pretty easy, and pretty fast, because I think I used like 3 hours to knit this little guy, and it was the first time. I'm pretty certain that the next time around it will be much quicker. So I started out with double pointed needles. You start here with a little bit of yarny cord, and then you increase around. But I'm not super at ease with double pointed needles, so I switched to circular needles, and so I knitted the hat. And then once the hat is complete, you pick up your stitches for the body just before the brim, and then you knit all the way down, and once you've reached the bottom, you just decrease and you stuff as you go, but everything is completely everything is detailed. There is much details, many details. You can find some pictures as well to explain you all the steps, and I think Sarah has a lot of tutorials as well. And afterward you knit the beard separately and the nose separately, and then you attach both separately. I didn't knit the arms because it's too fiddly, and I actually like my gnomes without arms. So for that one as well, at least for that one at least. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty easy. And when I started to knit the body, I actually switched to the double pointed needles, because the pattern is written for double pointed needles, and it was much easier. I think it's not easy on that part, because there is not many stitches actually, but once you have more stitches on the needles, it's easier. It becomes easier. So I love him. Okay, so that's it for the gnomes. If you're following me on Instagram, you might have seen that I'm testing new to me bases for the shop. I just wanted to have a word with you on those 2 bases. So I took them with me, as well as the beginning of a mitten that I've started to knit. So the 2 bases I'm testing, I mean, I've been very happy with the results so far. So the first one is between a DK weight and a spot weight. It's 266 meters for 100 grams. So you see it's like a light DK, and it's lovely. It's very plump. It's super soft, and I'm really enjoying that actually. And it's the exact same composition as my extra fine fingering, so that's 85% superwash extra fine merino and 15% nylon, and I really love that mix. And the other base I'm testing is just a regular mohair and silk combination. The difference is the mohair proportion is a bit higher, and I don't know if it's because of that, but it's so soft, so soft. It's much, well, not much, but it's really softer to the touch than the mohair and silk that I have in the shop, which is already very soft. So that one is even softer, so I'm really considering like just keeping that one in the shop. That's why I'm, you know, knitting it and testing it. So this is how it looks when knitted up, held together. So both yarns knitted together, and it's very lovely, super soft. I love it. So you've been very well, there have been several of you, a lot of you actually, telling me you loved you absolutely loved the color. And unfortunately, it's not repeatable. It's completely one of a kind because of the process. And I just wanted to share a word with you on the process. These are an example of colorways that I get when I exhaust my dye bath. You know, during a regular dyeing session, what I do is I don't want to waste anything. So when I'm speckling, for example, if you've watched the little video I did on dyeing Crazy Witch, you see that the method I'm using to dye, to speckle my yarn is with a tiny wooden baton that I use to sprinkle the yarn. There is always a bit of dye left on the baton, so what I usually do is I have a like in a pot some water with vinegar, and when I'm finished speckling, I put the baton and the other tools I'm using to speckle in that bath, in that pot, so that all the remaining, you know, tiniest amount of dye remaining on the tools are not lost in the drain, but rather dissolved in the dye bath, in the pot. That way, when I do that a lot during a dye session, I do that for every colorway I'm dyeing. I do not waste anything, and at the end of a dye session, usually I have this very dark dye bath that can have like infinitesimal particle of dye of like 20 different colors in it. And so what I do is that I put, depending on the depth of the dye bath, if it's really dark or not, I will put 1, 2, or 3 skeins of yarn, dry skeins of yarn, just on the top. Let it sink naturally without any interference, and I will put a bit of heat under it, and then I will let it sit. Once it's, you know, near boiling, I will cut the heat off and just let it sit until the next dye session. That produces the most incredible colorways, because you have a phenomenon because of the sedimentation of the dye inside the dye bath, and the way I'm putting the yarn in the dye bath, you have an effect of auto speckling happening, which is so cool. Sometimes I really have some clear speckles, although I didn't speckle the yarn at all. Sometimes I only have some, you know, some shading effect on the yarn. Very cool as well. I can have some like very light speckling happening. Like for this one, I don't know if I can show you. I hope I can. I don't know if you see here. It's really subtle. It's the tiniest of speckles. Sometimes it's more obvious, but sometimes it's really like this, subtle. Here you have a more visible one here as well. And when you knit it up, it's more like you see some areas with a different shade, but it's very soft, very subtle. And yeah, but because of the way it's dyed, it's not repeatable, because it's, I mean, it's impossible for me to repeat the exact amount of each, you know, colorway I've used. I've tried actually repeating some beautiful Exhaustion colorways I've had in the past. For some, I think I came close, because for example, my colorway Snow Owl, this one, is my way of repeating an unrepeatable colorway, Exhaustion colorway. It's not exactly the same. You don't have the clear sedimentation, the speckle effect that you get on the Exhaustion colorways, but it's quite close. So what I can do is try and reproduce, because I know you guys love those colorways. So I can, you know, try to find a way to make more, but I think I won't try and make things completely repeatable, because it would lost its magic. And so yeah, so I will try to have more in the shop more regularly, and have, yeah, Exhaustion colorways more often. But my advice would be that if you see something you love, just go for it. And what I can tell you also is, because I often use the same, well, when I'm speckling yarn, there is often 2 to 3 colorways that I use very regularly on a lot of colorways to speckle the yarn. So the Exhaustion colorways are often an air family. You see, you can often find, it's not the same color exactly, but it's very often something close to that. It's like a beige, rosé, grayish beige, sometimes more on the purple or on the pink side, or maybe sometimes more orange, but it's very often that you have something very close to this. So yeah, my advice, if you love something in the Exhaustion colorway, just grab it while it's here, because once it's gone forever. Okay, so also something very funny. You know, I have a baby. She's like 2, almost 2.5 now. She's sweet. And I think it was yesterday morning, we have had, like near Paris, the past week, a few days wherein it was very cold in the mornings. And so we are taking the boys and Amélia, so my little girl, to school and to daycare together. And the boys took their hats and gloves and everything to, you know, protect from the cold. And Amélia was a bit sad yesterday because she didn't have any, you know, warm things to put on. She has a hat, she has a coat, obviously, but she didn't have any mittens. She didn't have anything for the hands, and she was and was like, okay, that kid doesn't have anything for her hands when it's cold, and I'm a knitter and I'm a mom, not on my watch. And so I went in my shop. I took something from the shop because I wanted to knit something quickly for her, and I had those big chunky skeins of yarn sitting in the shop, and I mean, they were there forever, and I always think that if something sits in the shop a bit too long, that's because maybe it was meant for me. So okay, that skein met its fate and became a little mitt. So the pattern is the world's simplest mitts by Tinker Knits. So it's a free pattern on Ravelry, and I whipped this in like 1 hour yesterday. So quick, but I have to redo the thumb because obviously it's too small. My daughter would have to put it like this for it to fit. So yeah, I have to, you know, unknit, frog this part and reknit it. But it's a really lovely pattern, very easy to follow, very quick. And what I love about that is that you have all the sizes from toddler to adult, and all the yarn weight from fingering to chunky. That's awesome. So yeah, and it's a free pattern. So Tinka Knits, the world's simplest mitts. So no, my daughter won't be wanting for a pair of mittens, not on my watch. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to talk to you about, guys, you might have noticed that the decoration behind me has changed a bit. Yeah, there is this big guy looming over my shoulder. He's been looming over my shoulder like for the entire episode now, and so I'm going to talk about him, okay? So this is Lady Amélia. This is a new pattern, not by me, by a French designer named Floco Knits. Her first name is Florence, and we met at a yarn festival in February. It seems like ages ago. It was only like not even a year ago, but when it was pre-sanitary crisis, so it seems like it was years ago. And I didn't know her, but she was wearing the most awesome shawl ever. Like, I had to stop her in the LA and ask her what pattern it was. It was gorgeous, and it was her own design, because she's designing like so beautiful things, and she designs a lot. She's always designing. I don't think she knits all day long, and only her designs. And so we chatted a bit, and she bought me some yarn. She really went wild with the colors. I wouldn't even think she would knit something with those colors together, because boy, they were wild. Okay. And a few weeks later, she got in touch and told me that she designed something with the yarn she bought. Here is the shawl she designed. And believe me when I tell you that that baby is gorgeous. It's very big. I think it's three skeins shawl plus 2 minis. And I thought that the colors she bought on that day would work together in a design, because they were so different and variegated, but not in the same colors. I mean, it was incredible that she managed to, you know, use them in, I mean, it's like you cannot reconcile the finished object with the yarn she used, because she mixed, like in combination spinning, she mixed the two bases, the two colors, the very heavily variegated colors, and it's like it created a third color, and it's wonderful. And then she had this beautiful coral, neon coral, has a contrasting color. So it's gorgeous. It's really gorgeous. The reason I'm showing this to you is because this pattern is going to be published in February 2021. This month, my objective is to dye some kits for this pattern for the testers. Okay, because the test is going to start, I don't remember if it's December or early January maybe, I'm not sure, but somewhere around that, maybe after Christmas. So the test is going to start after Christmas, and I will be looking for testers. Well, Florence and I will be looking for some testers for the English version, because it's going to be available in English and in French. So this is again the pattern. You have several sections. You have some bubbles, lace, brioche, and a wavy border, and it's gorgeous. So I put together some color palettes, but what I wanted to ask you is if you would like to test this pattern, you can drop me an email. I will be looking for, like, I think at least 3 to 4 testers for this pattern, and I will have some kits in the shop, I think by the end of the month, and for the testers there will be a 15% discount on the yarn, so just get in touch if you're interested. And this is the big brother of the shawl I've just shown you. That guy is huge, absolutely huge. It's a schlanket, okay? It's at the, I mean, it's like, it's almost too big to wear, because I think the wingspan must be like 5 meters. It's crazy. I mean, but what she did, and I think I'm going to do that, I'm going to show you a little video for you to see how it looks from up close. So you've seen that guy from up close. You see how the textures play here with the mohair, because it's entirely doubled with mohair and silk. And for some sections here and there, when it's lighter, there's only mohair. And I love the effect it has, the play on textures it has on the shawl. So I'd like to knit, because I'm going to test the pattern as well. I really love that pattern and I wanted to test it. I'm going to try and knit a version like this. I don't want it to be so big, but I'd like to repeat the you know, the playing around texture that's happening here. So among the 3 skeins of yarn, I'm going to use at least 1 skein of mohair and silk. I think 1 skein of slub and 1 skein of maybe sparkle yarn, maybe not lurex, maybe stellina. But that's the plan. I mean, I'm really so happy, and Florence is absolutely adorable. And you know, Amélia is the name of my little swan, and she named it Lady Amélia after my baby. So it's a project that's very special. I'm so grateful for Florence to, you know, since she has known my yarns, she has been incredibly supportive of my work, sending me a lot of good vibes, and just working with my yarns a lot, designing a bunch of things that didn't go out yet because of the sanitary crisis and the cancellation of all the fiber events we were supposed to take part in. But I mean, she's so enthusiastic, and she does magic basically. And I mean, when I look at that, I mean, it's huge. It's a beast of a shawl, but it's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's a work of art. It's so beautiful. So that's what I wanted to share with you. I wanted to start early to let you know that this big test is going to happen soon, and that we will be looking for testers to test the English version, and I wanted to let you know that there will be a discount of 15% for the testers in the shop. So as I told you, I put together some color palettes for this. I don't have the yarn yet to get dyeing. I think it would be more like toward the end of the month. But if you are considering, I mean, you can totally come up with your own pattern with your, oh, no, sorry, that's not what I meant to say. You can totally come up with your own palette of color. Me, I think I'm going to go with something close to this. Maybe that's not final, but I think I'd like to try and knit something with that type of color palette. So that's Modu, Nutmeg, Chocolate Fudge, and a new color that I dyed with the very Christmassy green and red I've shown you just before. This is a very beautiful burgundy, and it's a new colorway that I've dyed only on minis so far. It's quite close to Halo, but I wanted to show you the difference because one is really leaning toward purple and the other one is leaning toward red. Maybe you can see the difference. So it's a very beautiful colorway, very deep, very saturated, and I thought that this was a gorgeous color palette. Gorgeous. So I might go with something like that. If you're interested in testing, just drop me an email. You can, simply reply to the newsletter. It goes directly in my inbox. So if you're interested, you just, click on reply, tell me you're interested, and then we will start discussing the color options. I will share with you the colors I've put together for the kits, for the initial kits, but it's not finished, and I think I will have a lot more ideas, and I would like, if you're testing this, I would like you to really have the color palette of your dreams. So that's something we can totally discuss together. Okay, so I think that's it for today, and that's perfect because we are closing in on the hour mark, which is exactly the capacity of my battery. So that's cool. Actually, I had to buy 2 batteries because I have one for the French version and then I have one for the English version. I just have to switch in between. So thank you very much for staying with me until the end, and thank you so much for being there and cheering me on. I wish you to spend a lovely week, and I'll see you next Monday. Cheers, bye.